Hey, so apologies that I'm going to be kind of stuffed up while you listen to this. And I'm not feeling too hot, but I gotta try to get this out in video format. So, I found something really fascinating in the last year. It's a phenomena that I wasn't previously, I didn't know it existed. And I've experienced it in a way that I, it was just unexpected. Let's put it that way. So what I'm thinking of is a corruption of dreams, a corruption of goals that you have. And specifically in my case, I set out to make some tools that would better equip me to analyze securities. In this particular case, it's companies, right? And basically I was going to these different websites and you gather different financial data on companies, right? Over here they've got good graphs, and over here they've got financial statements, and over here they have different projected revenues or whatever it was, right? And I was thinking, what if I could combine that all in one place? What if I could make it centralized just for my own use? Just like, where would I get that data, et cetera, et cetera? Like, so many questions, and how to consolidate that security analysis process, right? And so I started throwing coding at the problem. It's like, let's make some cool stuff that I can use. And it was just a personal project, just something that I can work on and that I enjoy doing. And yes, there's a net benefit for me, and it's just kind of cool. It was a fascination of mine. And as I'm building it, I realized this could be really useful to people. The other people could find this useful the same way I do. Great. Um, and so I'm building that out, over time. It takes this last year just working through, where do I source the data? How do I clean that data? How do I organize it into a database? Then on top of that, what kind of analyses do I run? How do I present that data? That later brought me to front end engineering. Like, if I'm gonna host it as a website, right? It has to have some kind of presentation to it. Sure. And it was during this front end making process that this corruption seeped in. The corruption of the dream is how I'm thinking of it. So it started as a tool that I'm building. It started as something cool that I could use, something that I wanted to build and was useful to me. Okay. As I'm building it, I started thinking, oh, I could turn this into something that would produce money, something that I could help bring my wife home to be stay at home so she could retire, help raise the kids, just be in the home with the kids, be a stay at home mom. I could turn this into an independent business, and go down the entrepreneurial route. I don't have to work for anyone else. I can work for myself and just keep building out this thing. Cool. I mean, there's no shame in that. But it corrupted the idea of the tool that I was building, because it was no longer a tool that I was just using. It's like you type in some terminal commands and produce a data stream, or like some pictures, or a financial report, whatever it was that I was doing. I was trying to box that into something that was digestible by the public, by something that's pleasant on the eyes, easy to use, and people would then give money to use. Does that make sense? And that corrupted the idea of the tool altogether. It took all the fun out of making it. I, while I'm building out this front end, I realized I'm not a front end engineer. This version that's going to go out here in January is not pretty to look at. And that will be iterated through. It will get better as time goes on. Absolutely. But the first version is kind of like a previous video this week. I'm talking about like people's feedback when you put something into the world. It's going to be harsh. You're going to get some criticism for the first thing that you do. When you look at this thing, when I post it, I'm totally ready to hear like, this is like something I stepped on the bottom of my shoe. That's fine, because over time I'll learn how to make it more appealing to the eye. That's great. But as I was building this front end going into it, I was frustrated by my lack of skills to actually build it. I was frustrated that it wasn't as visually appealing as these other sites. It's not as intuitive. It's not, I can't quite get it to display the data that I want it to display, because I have to learn this whole new framework and all all of that, right? And this idea that it would become a business that I'm running, that it would be my entrepreneurial venture. It would be how I'm self-employed and move away from employment and all that. Completely stole the idea that it was a tool that I was using and I was having fun building it. Yes, it was useful. Yes, I could use it for my own investment ventures. Sure, sure, sure. But it was fun to build. This is no longer fun. This is not fun. Choosing like what background color and how to align these different graphs and these tables and whatnot. And how do you like going from SQL, it's a language to interact with databases, and then you learn, in this case, it's Django, the back end of the site. Django's ORM to interact with SQL, and like gouging my eyes out. Like, why can't we just use SQL and like it? Never mind, never mind. That's a total tangent. But the learning part of it got frustrating because the purpose was to make it make money. Not originally. Originally, just a tool that I like making. It's really cool and useful for me. But then it's like, well, you have to make it good so that it makes you money, so that you can be self-employed. And it completely corrupted the dream that I had starting out in the beginning of the year. It completely corrupted the project and made it a chore to sit down and do. It made it frustrating, just trying to make it look good so that people will want to buy it. Ugh. Ugh. And I don't know how to condense that into a more concise video for you, or an article if I write it into a message to help you understand that this corruption of a dream can seep into so many different things. It's like you start out to destroy the ring in Lord of the Rings, and then you're like, well, if we use it just a little bit to defend Gondor, like it's like the idea that I could be self-employed. I don't have to answer to anyone else or ask for time off. That's a huge, awesome thing that I want. So this site, this tool that I'm making, it will save me from not having to be a wagey. Like, okay, that's understandable that there's a lot of stress built into that, right? The job's great. I'm doing fine, but it'd be so much better if I didn't have to answer to anyone. That'd be cool. Bringing my wife home. She wants to be stay at home. She's tired of working. She wants to be there with the kids. Great. We want to have more kids. There's there's an asymptotic curve. No, that's not the right word. If you were to graph it, right? Her income eventually will become obsolete because it's all just going to be going to childcare anyway. So after a certain point, it's economically just wise that she doesn't work and just watches the kids, because we want a bunch of kids, okay? We're That's just where we are in life. And great, I want that. I want a big family and I want to bring her home. So this thing has baked into it the getting me out of the workforce, getting her out of the workforce, but not like me out of the workforce. I'm just working for myself. You get the idea. And that is a lot of pressure on this project that was just a cool, nifty tool to look at the revenues of Microsoft. You know, does that make sense? And so instead of being something fun that I sit down to do, it became this chore, this thing that I'm never quite good enough at, this thing that I'm constantly failing at because, oh, now the front end is done. It still kind of looks like something you step on the bottom of your shoe, and it's not. The front end does not do justice to the back end that is taking the data, organizing it, cleaning it, making it something digestible. Great. I've already said earlier that will iterate and get better. But my mind doesn't see that. My mind doesn't see that it's a process, that it gets better over time. My mind doesn't see that it's like a fledgling of what it could be in the future. My mind just sees, would I visit this site? Does that make sense? And so then you look at it and you go, no one's going to pay to use this. That's not like, why? Why would you go to this 1990s website and be like, yes, I really like what they've done here. Here's some money so that I can have whatever. If it's a freemium model, right? Then they pay to get the premium stuff behind it, right? Great. Why would anyone do that when it is this, And so it puts all that pressure on it and destroys the joy that you have building the thing. And I'm slowly coming to terms with whatever this thing is, whatever this corruption of the dream idea is that I'm throwing out there for you to help me digest, okay? Because maybe you've experienced something similar, and I would love to hear about that. Like, how did you deal with that feeling? Did it ever go away? Did you change your mindset? Did you reframe it in such a way that it became fun again? Did you just throw the version of the thing that you stepped on in the street? Did you throw that out there and then iterate and it all turned out good? Like, how did you get past that feeling of like it's no longer about fun or usefulness? It's now like some kind of lifeline. It's now some kind of savior, and you have to do it right, or it won't be that thing. It'll just be something that people go, ah! and never return to. And then you've lost a customer, and then you'll never be self employed, and your wife will never be stay at home. And that's that. Ugh, what a terrible way to think about it. You see what I mean? Like, what a terrible conclusion to come to after a year of work that I enjoyed, that I had fun doing, that I learned so much doing this. Oh, holy cannoli. So at the end of all of it, like, this is a great resume piece. This is something that, like, I can make good conversation about in an interview. Haha. Dude, we've come full circle on the whole clown sphere of things. Like, yes, I'm gonna do this to be self-employed. Oh, and I'm just back to being a wagey. I'm just using common terms here, okay? I have no problem with being employed. I just would prefer, to be self-employed. It's not a big deal. But all that aside, like, this is a lot of learning done that has helped me grow as a programmer, as an architect of sorts. I'm not saying that I'm at the level of architect of any kind, cloud or software engineering architect. No, 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 no. But it's helped me grow in those domains. It's helped me understand the underlying technology, the programming languages, the frameworks I'm using, the cloud tech, like, all of it. It's helped me learn in such a way that I feel so much more confident with these different tools, with the data that I'm manipulating, with data cleaning as a whole. Like, okay, so first half of the year, lots of data cleaning going on because I have to build the database to work on it, right? To have something to use. And now at the end of the year, I'm looking back and going, this could be improved. I could make this a little bit better. The models for the database could be updated in this way because later I've run into issues where I don't actually have a field in the database so that my models have the data available that I need for different displays, right? So you add some quick fixes and it works out. But in later iterations of the database, I'm going to have to completely, well, not completely, but moderately refactor different pieces that are in there. And not only the fields that are present in the different tables, but the calculations of such. They could be optimized like crazy because right now there's some things that I've learned throughout the year, just programming practices that, like, going back, they're not optimized at first, and it takes a lot of time where it could be drastically cut down in processing time. And that's great. I learned a lot. I've grown and I'm happy about that. And so it's so frustrating. It's so defeating, self-defeating, self-deprecating in thinking about it like this could be a whole new employment venture for myself rather than just this cool thing that I did along the way, which is a huge success. You set out to make yourself a tool. You set out to do something fun, and along the way you did that and you learned a bunch. You grew, Luke. And and you're looking at it like no one will ever consider this Facebook 2.0, whatever the thing is. So you failed and you don't want to go and work on it again because it's this huge responsibility, this problem that was actually a solution to fix these other problems. It's been corrupted. The dream has been corrupted. And so I'm trying to grow through that. I'm trying to get that behind me. I'm trying to take that mindset and the whole new objective that was placed on this whole project to begin with, take that, throw it away. Throw it away. In the future, maybe it makes money. Cool. Like, that should be like a tertiary objective. It should be something not even remotely on the table right now. Right now, you should focus on that first part, that most wonderful part. It's a tool for me to use. And I'm sharing it with people because maybe they'll be able to use it too. Maybe it'll be useful to them. Maybe it'll teach them things. That's the whole point of the site. It's for educational content. Great, great. That should be first and foremost. Is the original goal. It's a tool you can use. Later, as it improves, maybe we'll get to a place where there's monetization. Maybe, and maybe not. Maybe it's just a cool portfolio project for my resume. And I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with that. Because it might not even be that. You see? Like maybe my career goes on this weird pivot and I end up in a completely different career outside of IT. That could happen. It just has to be something cool that I like. Does that make sense? That is how it's admired. That's how it's fun. That's how I sit down and actually work on it. When I try to make Facebook 2.0, I hate it. I hate doing it. And I feel like I'm never good enough. What kind of environment does that create for myself inside my head, for my family? I'd leave the office disappointed. I'm not a pleasant person to be around when I'm like, it's just not good enough and not complete. And I need to do more work to get it complete. And like, what does that even mean, complete? Have you been in software ever? Software's never complete. There's always a patch. There's always some bug that comes up. My testing didn't find this bug and then this thing is broken. I got to fix it. Software's never done. There's always some update. And whether that's just on the front end, like a UI issue, or that's on the back end, the database is completely corrupted, whatever it is, there's always something that needs to be done in software. So it will never be done. You see? So I'm trying to retrain my brain, retrain it to understand that this thing is just something cool I'm doing. It doesn't have to be anything else. This isn't my wife's savior to bring her home. This isn't my savior to not be an employee anymore. This is just something cool that I'm building. That's all. And reprogramming my brain to do that is surprisingly difficult over the last 2 weeks since thinking of this idea, this corruption of the dream. Because at some point it transitioned from being the cool thing into like, yes, Mark Zuckerberg 2.0 is me. Like, no, let that go. Let that go. Just enjoy the process of building it. Because that's where it'll matter. That's where it will come out as important to yourself. That's where you'll get the most dividends for your return on investment. That's where the good is going to come out of it. And that's where people will enjoy it too. Because it's about authenticity. It's not about like, yes, I've made the next Nike. Like, buy my sneakers. Like, whoa. People are gonna hate those shoes, man, because they're not authentic, because they're not real. Do you see what I mean? Like, you're going to fail the money game because you're trying so hard. And you're gonna fail the tool game because you're focused on this BS. Just no. Reframe it. Get back to it being fun. Get back to it being a tool for you. And just go forward. Like I said in that video earlier this week, it doesn't matter what other people think about it. You're putting it out there for you. Go forward. Does that make sense? That corruption of the dream. Insidious, man. You didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming at all. It just appeared. Because of all these other circumstances in your life, it just appeared and latched onto that project you were doing. And now you got to rip that off and just like chuck that out the window and reclaim that beautiful thing that you're building. For you, that might manifest in something else. Maybe that's in lifting weights. Maybe that's in art. Maybe that's in a personal relationship. It doesn't matter what the thing is, but a corruption can sneak in and take over that dream. Whatever the corruption is, it doesn't have to be money. It could be any other thing that just takes the original idea and twists it in such a way that instead of being something you enjoy, it's now a new prison. And I hope you recognize it. I hope you recognize that corruption and you find some way, remove it, and get back to having joy with that thing that you're doing, whatever it is. I hope you do. And I hope I do. That's what I'm working on. And I want to get back to enjoying what I'm doing. All right. Have a good day. Take care of yourself. Thanks for watching.